Somebody said something in a meeting, at an event, to you personally, and you knew in your gut, your body registered that it wasn't true. And you probably laughed with a lot of discomfort. I'm Kathy Klotz-Guest. We're going to talk a little bit today in this week's newsletter about why we laugh instead of speak up. But you feel it in your body, but you had a visceral reaction. So I call it the laugh test. And the laugh test is there's two flavors of laughter. I mean, there's a lot of different flavors. But in business and in our lives, especially in business, there are two flavors that we pay attention to as leaders. And for you, forget about leadership, you, the person, really important for you, which is there's the discomfort laugh. Somebody says something like, "We're a team, we all get along." And people snicker and laugh and look at each other in an uncomfortable way because guess what? They know it's BS. Then there's the comfortable laughter where maybe you made a joke and it was funny and people laughed and it wasn't risky to laugh and you moved on because it was just humor, good humor, something that was very safe. Now, here's the thing. It's important to look for the moments where we do laugh nervously instead of speak up. And I've seen it many times. Many, many times. I don't know about you, but I have a visceral response when my body registers one thing and the words don't match. So I laughed out loud when my boss said that. And here's the interesting thing. He missed the moment for truth. If he had been listening, he could have realized, oh my God, I said we all get along. And he said it in front of his boss. And if he had paid attention, he would have seen collectively the discomfort, the uncomfortable laugh, the laugh test. Total, not laughing at anything funny because it wasn't a joke, laughing at him saying that, which basically is information. Telling him, BS. But he glossed over that moment. So, laughter is the signal and it's information. It's really important information that can help us not only read a room, if we want to be better at reading a room, laughter is important. What kind of laughter? Comfortable laughter? Are they with you? Or the kind that's uncomfortable because they're nervous, they feel awkward, they feel put on the spot, they're not sure what to do, they're nervously looking around and looking at their boss to see if the boss is laughing. Or the kind of visceral reaction that I had where, you're like, when you know something is bullshit. So here's why it's important to notice these things because we often laugh nervously and move on instead of speaking up. So if we want to become bolder at speaking up or just noticing things to make behavioral change, start noticing those kinds of laughs. If you notice somebody laughing kind of uncomfortably in the room, not just one person, but a room sort of noticeably, you have a choice. Ask yourself, here's the thing, pause, notice it, label it in your head. Oh, wow. I said something that wasn't supposed to be funny, and they're all laughing. That's interesting. What made it funny? Now ask yourself, don't put people on the spot. Ask yourself, why would people find that funny? Well, here's the thing. Because of the incongruity between what they believe to be true and what you just said. So now you raise your awareness and you have a choice. You can say something. You could, being bolder, you can choose to say, okay, I'll follow that later. That's interesting. Y'all laugh. So I think maybe we'll talk about that next. Let's talk about how we can be braver together. Again, it's not about putting anyone on the spot. It's learning to notice the room and be able to say, okay, that was interesting because that wasn't meant to be funny. So clearly, okay, we'll come back to that. We're going to yes and that. We're going to come back to that because clearly, maybe there's something there. You just hit on a visceral collective truth that team didn't have the words or the safety to say. So what did they do? Well, they said the truth with visceral laughter. And that laughter is truth. It is information. It's the signal. that maybe they didn't realize they were leaking. So now you have a choice. You can say something, you can say, well, that's information. How do we make that better? And you can choose to use that information for better ideas, more innovation, for bolder speaking up. But now you're flexing your muscle and you're learning a really important skill, which is reading the room, and laughter is part of it. Because learning to read people's faces, people's body language, visceral things when somebody laughs and they're not supposed to, that's information, folks. You ever seen a speaker say something and the audience is laughing and they're like, well, I haven't even said the funny part. Why do you think that is? The audience just told you there was something in the way that you showed up or something you said that they found incongruous with what you're saying and purporting that your talk is about. They felt it. And that's their way of giving you information because they don't know you. They're not going to interrupt your talk, but they're giving you information. So once you become aware, you pause, you reflect, you ask yourself, okay, I got to name this. What is it? Is it funny? Now you can start to, because you're aware, you can start to use that information in real time to start making changes. And when you start to notice it more, you start to see how you can speak up more boldly, when you can speak up. Maybe if enough people are laughing, there's something there, and I should bring this up later or now, file that away and say, that's interesting. We're laughing at that. Let's talk about that. Let's go there. So, or listen for ideas. Listen for really bold ideas. So, the more you know, the more you start to get in the habit of seeing that signal and noticing it, you can start to make the change. The thing is, awareness is a driver of behavior change. So, you have to start to notice it. Notice these little things. Notice the comfortable laughter when you say something funny versus when it's uncomfortable and it really wasn't meant to be funny, and you notice the awkward, uncomfortable laughter. One is safe, the other one is information because words won't do and the safety isn't there. And that, folks, is a skill that is important to you learning to be bolder and knowing when to and how to regulate and when and how to better read the room. And take that, AI. I did a talk for Disrupt HR San Francisco, and it was all about, I hope, how AI never learns to read the room because that's our job as humans. That's your job, that's my job. So that is this week's newsletter. I hope you like it. If you liked it, show it some love, give it hearts, and then share it with a friend. So, all right, everybody. Bye.